Welcome, Vault Dwellers. My name is Nacho Bidness. We're back with Bob for possibly the last time, because on this character I have unlocked Egret Tours Marina, but I haven't actually done anything with it. In fact, it is so vanilla that I haven't burned off the oil slick out in front of the building here yet. What we're doing here today is we are going to take a look at how to wire up some streetlights that are a little bit more realistic. I like streetlights that come on at night, but I also like streetlights that come on during very bad weather. And while we wait for the build menu to load, I will mention that I'm doing some very small scale builds and tutorials right now while I wait for the Fallout 76 beta to come out. And so if you have questions about this or anything else, either on my channel or elsewhere, let me know, because I am looking for some small scale video ideas, and if I can help you out by making a video, I would be glad to do so. Helps you out and helps me out by allowing me to continue to make some content and not let the channel go dead while I wait for the 76 beta to come out. I just don't want to be in the middle of a build and then find out that, oh, 76 beta is out and I have to either abandon that build or wait to play that beta until I can finish it. So not a good set of options there for me. Let's go ahead. Just what we're doing right now is we're just putting some street lights down and basically replacing the non-functional ones that are here in the vanilla settlement with some street lights that we can actually turn on. And there we go. That is the last one. And I think we're ready to go ahead and start wiring. I'll go ahead and scrap that door just because it takes so long to get in and out of the build mode with all the mods that I've got going that I actually just don't want to exit the build mode unless I absolutely have to. Let's go ahead and get a generator down so that we've got a power source for this whole thing, and go ahead and set that there and just kind of edge it into the wall a little bit so it's nice and straight. And now we're ready to go get all of our conditions for when the lights turn on. So what I'd like to do is I would like the lights to turn on when there is bad weather, which is like overcast, misty, foggy, that kind of stuff. I'd like it to turn on when there is a rad storm, and I would like them to turn on when it rains. And the last thing is that I would like these things to turn on when it's dark, so we can just set that up on a clock switch. I'm going to go ahead and get a terminal out to program that clock switch. I've used these self-powered terminals out of the electronics mod because they're nice for programming little logic elements without having to have them hooked into the rest of the settlement power grid. So I usually like to set stuff to turn on at about 8 p.m. and I like to have stuff turn off at about 7 a.m. And now we can get back into the build mode, and we can store that powered terminal because we don't need it anymore, and we can hook our generator up to each of these switches. Now we don't actually need to hook the clock switch to the generator, but it just makes everything kind of nice and symmetrical. And there we are. Now you might be thinking, well, the clock switch only makes 1 power, so it's not going to be enough to power all those streetlights, and that's why I hook it to the generator. In reality, it turns out that Fallout 4 counts all your settlement power. It doesn't have to actually go through the right switches. In other words, if I've got sufficient power in a settlement, it doesn't really matter that it's routing through the right switches, but I like to make it at least look correct in my mind. So the last thing that we need here is we need a nice little wall switch. And actually, there's one other thing that I want. I want the street lights to turn on when there is an alarm in the settlement. So we'll go ahead and grab a Siren out of the resources menu, and actually we'll go ahead and put that down inside so that we can wire everything up that way. So we'll need power to that Siren as well. And all we have to do is hook all of these different inputs to this switch. Of course, this one wants to be a booger, so I'm gonna wire glitch that one, and that one also wants to be a booger, so I'll wire glitch to that one. There we are. And we'll go to our Siren. Go ahead and set our Siren outside. And set it maybe right about here. There we go. And we're just about done. All we have to do now is take this switch, and I think we're going to set this over here so it's a little bit clearer how this works. Everything kind of flows from right to left. So the generator gives power to each of these different inputs. If any of these inputs turns on, then we'll have power to the switch. Let's go ahead and wire up the street lights. And I like these insulated conduits for that, so I'm just going to set that guy right there and put that, and now we're going to move this outside and put it kind of on the corner there, and those vines are in the way. We'll scrap those. So street light, I actually want that to face the other way, so we'll just turn that around 180 degrees. I can come back later and use a pillar glitch to sink that down a little bit so it's not quite floating as bad. So these lights are all wired. Last thing to do is get some power on that very last one, so we'll just kind of put that there, and then we'll take another conduit and put it there. Come on, grab it. There we go. There we go. We can set this outside and use place anywhere again to skip having to waste time with wire glitching. And that can go to, oh, there it is, that street light and the other street light, and there we go. We've now got it set up to where whenever it's dark, or whenever there's bad weather, or when someone hits the siren, we will have the street lights turn on. Let's test and make sure that everything works. So I hit the siren, and oh, right, one last step. So I like to have a manual override on stuff, which is why I actually have this switch right here. It spawned in the off position, so we'll go ahead and turn that on. And that way, if I want to turn the lights off at night, I can. So we hit this siren, and yep, all the lights are on. Looks like we got power everywhere. And if we want to, we can use some cheat functionality and change the weather here. Of course, this is my build character for the Evolution of a Settlement challenge. I didn't have this stuff installed at that time, but now that that challenge is over, I like these kind of quality of life mods that are good for a builder and a YouTuber, that help with just speeding up the process of setting the time of day for the lighting that you want, or getting the weather just how you like. We can do those in vanilla with the weather change shells, but it's just more time consuming. And our manual override is obviously still going to work, and the lights turn off when we hit that switch, and they're on when it's raining. We can check out what happens when there's a rad storm. Get out of here, and the lights stay on. If we add additional inputs like that siren, the lights continue to stay on. So there you go. That system can be used with a number of things. If you'd like, for example, to have some spotlight turrets that turned on after dark, or any other number of things that you might want to happen depending on exactly what the weather is doing. You can customize it by, for example, removing the bad weather detector, so that if you don't want the system to activate when it is cloudy or foggy, for example, but you still want it to work with rad storms and rain and such, you can totally do that. If you found this information useful, be sure to hit that like button down below. And if you have questions, be sure to leave me a comment. I would love to make a video for you to help answer any questions that you might have. If you didn't like, please tell me why, so I can try and do better next time. Until next time, my name is Nacho Bidness, and I'm saying it's a great big wasteland out there. Let's go have fun in it.